Azerbaijan. You join me, ISRL Kampwala, and my co-com, Origin Gamma. Welcome.
Hello. Yeah, it's been a good minute since I've been here. I seem to have missed all the fun. We've come from Tier 3 to joining down in Tier 4 after a crazy Russian Grand Prix.
Yeah, and that Russian Grand Prix, we didn't have so many cars finish, but for the cars that did, it was really a big boost for them in the championship. But we also seen a lot of DNF. Do you think we'll see similar again today, or are we expecting a much cleaner race?
Well, Baku is known as Monaco on steroids half the time, so I mean the walls are incredibly close. With street tracks as well, low grip, low traction, and there's a couple of very nasty points in this track, particularly the castle section, which I've been watching on Victor with, and the big thing will be the curbs. You've got to take that absolutely perfectly. If you brake too early or too late, that can absolutely smack your suspension as well. So it's very easy to be done. There surprisingly isn't a lot of overtaking opportunities other than the very long back straight, and also the second DRS then heading into turn 3 as well. So if drivers decide to go over try to overtake in any other place, there's going to be some very fine margins with the barriers as well.
Yeah, and with that being said, in real life we've seen a safety car at Azerbaijan in every appearance, so do you think that's going to be a factor as well, having a safety car or virtual safety cars come out?
It's a very high possibility. The thing with street tracks in general, there's always a higher chance of safety cars because there's not a lot of room to move cars away. Obviously, not always that applies in the video game version, but it's an absolute possibility, and it's a huge turnaround if there is a safety car, because that can absolutely make and break races, much like any safety car could. But it's a one-stop strategy on this, so it will depend on the timing of these safety cars and virtual safety. But it'll be huge, I think, if we do get them out. But don't be surprised if we get a safety car. Like you mentioned, we've had a safety car here in every Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I don't think I've ever seen a scenario without one, to be honest.
Yeah, and with that being said, qualifying could be maybe not as important as a lot of tracks. As we're seeing Victor on his lap running a nice and clean lap, not getting too close to the walls, so maybe just setting a banker early in this session.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You want to, get a good time on the board. There isn't a lot of places where you can invalidate your lap here, but there certainly is. But it's good to sort of get that banker lap in. Just firstly, like you said, to have a lap on the board is super useful, but also to get a feel of the track as well. Most people, as we see the first time, was 140.6. The thing that people will be testing is the track conditions. Obviously, it's not sort of sunny weather; it's very grey skies, so that will affect the air temperature and also the track temperature as well. And that means a lot less grip to play with. So having those banker laps and playing a bit safer is useful as well. And I thought I was watching Victor's lap. It wasn't sort of pushing it over the edge. It wasn't going close to the tyre barrier, which I can't say the same for Luke 14 as he touched the barrier on entry. Expect as they get more confident, they will start to push more.
Yeah, and that would be the same in any scenario in F1, but it's a bigger...
sorry, apologies. Gravel traps hit the barrier and he's got absolutely no front wing. I was watching him coming through the fast left-hand corner. I can never remember, I can't remember all these corners, but his front wing is completely ripped off. And that's the huge danger of this track as well. The barrier is so close, it's so easy to lose your front wing. That'll be more crucial for the race as well.
Yeah, and then we're riding on board now, looking at that wounded McLaren as he gets in the way of the Red Bull. I can feel that being a penalty.
Yeah, Thankfully, Sinful was on an out lap, so that wasn't his flying lap. But that absolutely will compromise now because that will compromise his his initial run anyways, because he's had to slow down, and with the lap starting down the back straight, you lose so much speed in that. So already on the back foot, and he hasn't even started the lap yet.
Yeah, Whitson goes fastest there with a 1:40.3 in the Williams. So a very strong performance again this weekend in qualifying by Whitson, but we all know how that ended for him last weekend. Sinful keeps it out of the wall by millimetres there.
Yeah, some drivers will really push the limits on this track, and this track is similar in Monaco in the sense of how confident are you. Your confidence will determine how much you can push. If you don't have confidence track, you won't push as hard, and you can lose so much lap time for this. But those drivers who will push, as close to the wall as possible, who really finds the edge of grip, as Simple once again, almost at the moment on the capital section. Those drivers who are really confident in pushing the barriers and knowing the limits will find so much lap time on this track.
Scar Lowe's just gone faster to a 1:40.2 on the medium, so a very solid lap there from the Alfa Romeo driver in his first appearance back in ISRL for at least a season now. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, the lap times will continue, and like you mentioned, if we get a safety car here, and you're on the right tyre, you're on those medium tyres, you can go that much longer and potentially take advantage of one. Or you'll have fresher tyres, and you might have a bit more of an aggressive strategy against all those who start from the soft tyres.
yeah, and another driver to point out here on the medium is Michael Furez up in 4th place there, and a 1:41.5. That's not a terrible lap, and it definitely leaves you in the ballpark for being inside the top 10 this session.
Yeah, and he's just gone half a second quicker in the middle sector as well. So that 1:41.5, I have a feeling will go down very quickly. So expect this to be a 41 flat, which seems like a lot. That's 8/10 to Scarlo. But the thing about this track, and as we see for 1:41.1, which is still a respectable lap time. This track is an incredibly long track, and it's a straight track, and you sort of build the grip up once the track is green. So there is still so much more lap time to find on this track, and it's all about who is prepared to find that grip.
Yeah, and it's really risk and reward, because pushing too hard and you can be out of the session, but not pushing hard enough and it can leave you really quite far down the path, because we've come to see Azerbaijan sessions can be really quite close.
Absolutely. The great thing though is, even if you do, suppose you do push a little too hard, and you do, the worst case scenario is you go into the barrier. This track you can make places up. Admittedly, it's usually down the back straight. The cattle section, in general, the middle sector in general, it's very difficult to follow cars through, but the power of the slip-semi toe effect that we have down that back straight, it's very easy to make up places as well. At the same time though, it'd be very easy to be stuck in a train as well.
Yeah, and what sort of setup would you be aiming for here? Because I'm going for maybe a bit of a lower downforce setup because of the first and third sector, but would you benefit from a higher downforce setup through sector 2?
Well, no, in a way. The thing is, if you don't have enough downforce, going through that castle section will absolutely hurt you, and it will get to a point where,
as we see there, you get Ferrari in the wall in the castle section, and that's Racer PW, and affects Victor's lap a little bit, as he wasn't really expecting the Ferrari to be parked across the middle of the castle section there.
Yeah, that's a huge problem when you see a car coming through, and Simple is about to do the same as well. Thankfully, I don't think he's on a cool-down lap, but when a car spins in the castle section, they don't just automatically vanish, and cars behind them can absolutely have their visibility impaired, and you can have an absolute car wreck into that castle section, and especially in the race as well. If we see one car having a moment there, then that could, and thankfully ghosting exists, but you can see cars massively piling up, and that could be a very easy safety car for it.
Ah, yeah, he's rushed the oil tank on all that. Just 4 temps down on his best, but he might be able to find that back through the final sector. He's currently on a 42.488.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he's improving on this lap.
Yeah, the car seems solid. Very well balanced. I was watching him going through the final corner there, just able to have that McLaren ride through the curves, which is super beneficial. Speed through there. Oil can remains 8th fastest for the time being, but I'm sure there's definitely quite a
Philip Marshall is currently going half a second quicker in his Mercedes as he comes up to the line now at roughly about 220 kph. Let's see how far he can elevate himself, and he did improve, but not enough to elevate himself any higher up that order.
Yeah, did move ahead, I think, but it looks like, in general, the delta where you can, from tyre to tyre looks to be about half a second, which is interesting. So, I mean, there's definitely more time to, obviously, we won't be doing another lap on this one because he's just hit the barrier. But, and he might have just hit it a second time as well for good measure.
Well, Scarlo, who we know qualified on the mediums at the start of this session, is now pulling out on a set of softs, so maybe he's going to abandon that alternative strategy just for a faster tyre at the race start.
Yeah, of course, and you know, same qualifying rules as a normal Q1, Q2, Q3 session. If you qualify in the top 10, you must start on the tyres you do your best lap in. So of course, if Scarlo completes this lap, this lap that he starts, if he finishes it, he will have to start on the soft tyres, assuming, of course, he does improve.
Invalidated there at
medium.
It won't matter.
No, absolutely not. But he might still continue to do this lap anyway, just to see sort of, you know, what kind of times and what the delta's looking like as well. But, you know, starting on the medium tyres could be a good advantage at the start. Although he maybe, as he's outbroke himself. There's no cars behind him, so on his journey back to the pits he goes.
Looks like he was a little bit prepared for these runs into the braking zones. If you've got a Mercedes with no front wings there, Philip Marshall returning back to pit lane, he's had a scuffle with the wall and lost.
Yeah, he had a few clips as well. He's just taken out the pit. Well, he's taken out the speed board as well.
Yeah, very lucky to survive that bit of a run-in with the end of the pit wall there. As Lennox seems to have had an accident in the last corner.
Yeah, that's another huge point as well, and this is going back to your conversation on downforce settings. You don't want to run too low of downforce, particularly that final stretch of corners. It is a very, you know, they're very fast corners, and usually you should be able to take them flat out, but what we've seen is cars can lose back end so easily now. So you need a good level of stability, particularly rear stability, because this track, especially with a few slow corners as well, will absolutely punish you for not having that.
Yeah, we've just seen Hartman go P5 on a set of mediums at 141.2. A very good lap there by the Alpine driver, joining his teammate up in third still. The Alpine team are on a bit of a roll at the minute, would you say?
Yeah, definitely, and of course Alpine, of course, leading the Constructors' Championship as well. They're on very good form at the moment. Hartman, it may not look amazing with his lap time and him being a P5, but he is on medium tyres, which, like mentioned, could be very beneficial for the race, especially with others starting on the soft compound tyres. Scarlett is going again on the soft tyres, so this will be interesting because with 2.5 minutes to go, and with how long this track is, you won't really get another opportunity for another lap here. So,
no, Victor's out on a lap now and improving just ahead of the two Alfa Romeo here, and He seems to have found a 10th in the first sector. Let's just see what the Delta says coming into the second sector. You can see he's really flying through sector 2 there.
Not very confident on that corner. Doesn't, almost misses the apex there, but finds 2.5 attempts in the middle sector as well.
This could be just enough to nick second place off Whitson unless he can find a drastic amount of time through this last few bends, but there's a bit of a toe from his teammate there, so
Alpine
that could help him.
Alpine working very well there. That could, and it has
and it
benefited.
gives him pole position there for Victor as Hartman toes his teammate all the way to the line as Scarlo boxes. Whitson on a lap now, not improving though, 62 thousandths down as we get into the final 1 minute 25 of this session. Can Whitson find some more time through sector 2 and 3 and maybe get that pole position for himself?
Yep, Scarlo's pitted. I believe that is a guaranteed medium start for him. So of course his best position will be second on the grid. But interestingly, another 2 attempts there for Whitson. Whitson goes fastest in the middle sector, and it's all about the start. He doesn't have the toe, unlike Victor did. So how much of this time can he benefit? There's no cars in front of him. He will have no benefit of a switch coming down the back straight here.
Yeah, and as we ride on board, let's just see what this William driver does. It's a 140.1. That will be pole position for now, unless anyone else can deny him of a lap. Philip Marshall did improve by 4 attempts, but that wasn't enough to elevate him anywhere into this pole position fight. As Monkey does a 140.9 there in the Red Bull. Let's see if he's going again. It doesn't seem to be unless he's recharging the battery. Could Fallen Monkey get himself onto the pole position talk?
He's backed off, I think. Monkey's sort of battery harvesting, so this is, I think that'll be his done. Marshall
catastrophic on the run up to the line. Botkey, he confirms he'll start 15th, Sprinkle 14th, Lennox 13th. Gravel Trap has no front wing, that will be 12th. Simple will be 11th, Racer PW will be 10th. As Rusty Oil Can is now on a lap on the McLaren, see if he can elevate himself from 9.
Yeah, it's got it on a 42.4 at the moment, so this could elevate him up here. Ideally he'd love to
boxes. Whitson has nothing more to do, so Philip Marshall will be the first one to cross the line here to see if he can get into the talk of maybe the top 5 that looks so solid at the minute. There's a toe off a Williams. Will that help him? Philip Marshall? No, he stays 7th. Hartman will be 6th. Greenwell Army, he's on a lap, but he's got traffic.
Oil Can lost out time in the middle sector as well, so his time would not improve. And Greenwell, as you mentioned, had traffic, but albeit not really his fault there with that one.
Delta has 11 seconds down, but I'm sure he'll have a complaint about that, as your final order seems to be set in place of Whitson first, Victor second, Scarlo third on his return to ISRL, Fall Monkey's 4th in the Red Bull, Michael Fiore 5th in the Aston Martin, Hartman is 6th, Philip Marshall is 7th, Greenwell Army is 8th, Rusty Oilcan is 9th, and Racer PNW rounds off the top 10, with Sinful making up 11th and the poor man's pole position if you like. Gravel Trap will be 12th, Lennox will be 13th, Sprinkle is 14th, and Catastrophic is 15th. And after all that excitement, we still have a race to come up in just a few minutes.
Top 3 separated by attempts, that's interesting, but the big question here is Scarlo. Of course, as you see on the graphics, medium start for him, against the 2 soft runners. The question is, how much of that will make a huge difference? Will it make a difference at all? We do believe it's a one-stop strategy, but of course the soft runners will have to pit much earlier than the medium compound runners. We've got, how many we've got? We've got 4 out of the 10 starting on those medium tyres, so that's there's a strategic element to this race coming up.
Yeah, for sure. The strategy seems wide open right here. As you can see Whitson's character there with the #1 finger like Sebastian Vettel, fastest in this session. His second pole position in just as many races.
Yeah, good result for him, and good effort for him. Of course, Alpine as well, not doing too badly as well. So looks interesting, I think.
Yeah, we're set out for a great race here in Azerbaijan that will get underway in just a few minutes as the drivers will pick their final strategies, get the cars fueled up for this race as close and as precise as they can to their fuel targets they want to hit, and then we'll have one formation left and then it will be lights out here in the city of Azerbaijan.
Yeah, I was just looking at I was distracted when I was speaking. I was looking at the Constructors' Championship. Williams, I believe, have still yet to score points in the Constructors' Championship, so that qualifying position for Whitson here, if he can hold where he is, that can be super critical for the whole team, actually. One of 4 teams that have yet to score points this season, along with Mercedes, Ferrari and AlphaTauri.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big thing. If Whitson can get points here, how much will that mean for this small Williams team that don't have points yet? As the formation lap is underway, the predicted strategy gives us a 2-stop from the softs, but also a 2-stop on the mediums, but I don't really feel like that will be the case. The strategies are very conservative that they pop up on this screen, but we'll get a little bit of lap data up there for you, and we'll keep the position change for the first lap. I think we're all ready to race, so is there anyone that we're particularly interested in for this race? Would it be Scarlett third, the outstander in the Alfa Romeo?
Yeah, I mean, we did see his pace was, a 10th off in qualifying on medium tyres compared to the top 2, so expect there to be some pace in him. Looking at all those who have an option to free tyre choice, that's everybody from Tintle downwards. All have gone medium tyres minus Catastrophic, who's starting on the soft tyres, so he's going to try and get aggressive at the start. Once again, you see those predictions, they're both 2-stop strategies. The thing is, with 26 laps and a very long track, it is hugely difficult to make all that time back up, unless you get a safety car. If you want to make 2-stop strategy work. So expect them to be either soft to hards or medium to hards if possible, but you might need a bit of tyre management here. Don't push too hard on the tyres, because that can hurt you towards the end of this race, particularly those on the soft tyres at the moment, because as you've probably, as I've mentioned, the medium runners will pit later and have much fresher tyres to chase them down later on.
Yeah, and as you could see going through that castle section, that curb really is quite aggressive on the inside and spits the back end round if you catch it wrong, so that could be something we're looking at in this race, as Whitson now starts to back the pack back towards his gearbox just for the start of this race, so he can remain some tyre temperature in them nice Pirelli soft tyres.
Yeah, you don't want to let the pack sort of split away, which I think the top 3 have for the time being, because of course the longer you're going to be waiting on the grid for everyone to back up, the more temperature that's dropped out of the tyres, especially with a short dash down into turn 1 as well. It can be super easy to lock your brakes up, and you can find a very nasty wall on the inside there. So Whitson is just slotting into position. It's weird on this track because, of course, pole position is on the racing line, but P2, which is Victor, has the inside line, so he can get a better start, he could just force Whitson clean up the track here.
Yeah, for sure, you could, and as we see, the timing screens do go a little bit wonky there for a second, but we have 5 red lights, and it's lights out here in Azerbaijan. It's hard to judge the start straight away, but we are 4-5 abreast in the middle. As that is Victor taking the lead off Whitson initially, and oh, nearly into the wall, but Victor leads this race with contact in the background, and oh, that could be a safety car. There was a lot of debris in the background there, as Victor continues to lead, and that's a virtual safety car. The big losers here are Philip Marshall and Greenwell Army. They're down 3 positions, as well as Sinful and we're not. But Catastrophic got the perfect start for himself there, as he gains 1 position, and everyone from Rusty Oil Can to Gravel Trap went up 2 to 3 positions. So there's definitely a bit of carnage there in the midfield.
I mentioned earlier Williams needed these points. If they needed points, or good points, this was not the start they wanted. One losing the lead immediately, the other one certainly getting front wing damage and probably have to pit. But that's what I was mentioning earlier, having that inside line, you need to get the high ground, and especially if you had a good start, which is what Victor did indeed have as well on that. Scarlo might be very happy with that start. Of course he didn't gain places, but he didn't lose any either. And he's still massively in touch here. Of course we've got the virtual safety car out, so...
this virtual safety car is working a wonder for Greenwell Army and Philip Marshall. Both the Mercedes and the Williams don't have front wings currently, so this is really helping them get back into this race. As,
we've got a Mercedes in the barrier.
That's 2 in the barrier, and Whitson's out! Whitson is out of this Grand Prix. He has crashed at the last corner just from under the safety car, and he is out of this Grand Prix in the Williams, and that is really not what Williams would have been hoping for. Victor leads this Grand Prix off from this virtual safety car, but could we end up with another with Lennox and Whitson both having accidents just at the end of that safety car period, as we have 3-4 cars in the pit lane. Greenwell Army, Sinful, Catastrophic and Philip Marshall all pit, with Lennox trying to make his way back to the pit lane as well. Victor leads comfortably by 1.5 seconds, as Scarlo and Fallen Monkeys follow. Michael Fiore is just after that, and Hartman rounds out the top 5 here, but it seems to have spread out quite nicely so far for the top 5, and no one seems to be under an incredible amount of pressure, as Victor is going to take us through the castle section on lap 2 here.
Yeah, if you're Victor, this is the perfect start for yourself. The second place driver's gone, and that's such a shame for Whitson as well. That's the second DNF in a row for the Williams driver, and Williams, well, if they're 1 point now, they're really going to have to work for them. But Victor's lead is not very helpful here. Scarlo is rapidly closing in on him, and of course, next up will be the DRS zone, whereby Scarlo could use that to potentially make a move on Scarlo here. Suddenly, Victor may have got rid of 1 driver off his back. Scarlo might have another idea.
Yeah, and in the comments, Whitson is saying you can't really be bothered with this game. He always qualifies good, but yet something always has to happen in the race, and that's been a bit typical so far of his season, but that can't be like that forever. His racer PNW has had an accident in the last corner as well, and we'll ride on board with Philip Marshall to see if we can see this accident, but that's another one of the drivers out in the final corner here at Azerbaijan.
Yeah, looks like the same place as Whitson. I'm watching Gravel Trap just keeping Sprint 86 at bay here as they go down the back straight here, and this is where the DRS could come into effect here. They go wheel to wheel down the back straight, and well, the Haas driver gets ahead of one of the McLarens, but yeah, it looks like drivers are beginning to massively struggle here. Victor now is in range of Scarlo to utilise that drag reduction system, and they are pulling away from the remainder of the field as well. The rest a further 2 seconds back. We've already had, well, we've had 2 retirements in 3 laps. We've had 5 drivers pit already.
This is ideal for people like Scarlo, Michael Fury and Hartman, all on the medium tyre, and all can go longer and quicker than the 2 drivers in between them, that would be Victor and Monkey. So, are them 2 maybe going to get bullied out of this podium here, and we're going to see Scarlo, Michael Fury and Hartman on the podium? Is that something you could see happen?
Definitely. Keep your eye on Scarlo. He's gaining. Is he in a position to challenge the Alpine? Will he go down the inside? I think he's going to run out, and I think wisely there, I don't know if you saw, he lifted off as he approached turn 1, and he understands that he can bide his time, wait a bit. Victor's struggling to pace at the moment. You can see the rear tyres lighting up as well. He is struggling to grip already, and this is the danger of these soft compound tyres. This is playing right into Scarlo's hands at the moment.
Yeah, Scarlo is a wise driver now. I remember his debut season had a bit of a rough start, but once he really hooked it up and he was a race winner, and he definitely beat me on more than a few occasions. So he's going to be wise and allow Victor to make the mistakes, but he needs to not follow too closely, because he wouldn't want wing damage from a possible Victor moment through the castle section.
Yeah, he's smartly, and I'm watching his onboard, he's smartly driving here. He's not sort of braking late, he's not pushing the car onto its limits here. He knows Victor's struggling. Victor is really not, you can see the back end is just stepping out on him, and now through this flat left-hander, Victor really couldn't even go flat out down there. So he knows full well that he can wait. He knows he can bide his time. He's under no threat from behind. All the monkeys down 4 seconds behind. He knows Victor is struggling, and probably down this back straight. If Victor can keep the lead of this race down the back straight, I'd be hugely surprised. And he's just had a horrid exit through that left and right-hander as well. He's gone way, way too deep. And this will be a very easy pass here for the Alfa Romeo and Dosto.
Yeah, you can see Scarlo pulling away, but these soft tyres really hit a cliff, and Victor's had enough. He pits. Victor has pitted with a safety car now.
Perfect. That's a perfect scenario, and same for Full Motors as well, does pit as well. That couldn't have worked out at a better time. Now, why have we got a safety car? And I think that might be for the second. Is that the Williams?
Yeah, that's Greenwell Armour. Yeah. He seems to have had an accident. I'm not too sure where he's had this accident, but that's the second that Williams is out. Was it in the castle section? It was, as we'll not just move past these things, so that was an accident in the castle section for Greenwell Army that brought out a safety car as was watching the battle for the lead, and Scarlo now must feel a little bit heartbroken that the 4-second gap is just built up and worked so hard to gain. He's just been cut down, and his rivals of Michael Fury and Hartman can get there, but this is a big help for people such as Fallen Monkeys and Victor, who are now only 5th. Scarlo effectively has to make 21 to 30 seconds up here.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing that's interesting though is all those who pitted on soft tyres, they switched to the medium compound tyres. Now I don't think they will go to the end of the race, so I'm pretty sure they'll be on a 2-stop strategy. If they can do 21 laps on medium tyres, maybe they might try it, but that is a 2-stop strategy, so it's not playing all an advantage for those who pitted on that lap. Yes, absolutely, they're off their soft tyres, which was the perfect moment for them, as we saw with Victor. But they are still going to need to get through a couple of these cars. Victor will need to dispatch of the top 4 cars if he can. Once he is done, then it's all even again, and he will have the fresher tyres as well to go with it. And interesting, I think Scarlo's pitting.
Scarlo has pitted, and Michael Fury opts not to, and he's going to go a lot deeper in this race and make this one strategy work. With Hartman following him, so Scarlo made a bit of a blunder here in the Alfa Romeo.
So it's medium tyres again, so this is a guaranteed 2-stop strategy. This one is 100% because, of course, you have to use 2 different compounds of tyres, and he hasn't done yet, so he's guaranteed to have to stop again. he will come out behind Victor. So, whatever's happened, well, I can understand that. I think, you know, he won't lose as much time as he would under a normal pit stop, I suppose. But he now has the same position where he'll need to get through the next few cars, including Victor, who needs to pass as well. So, but if Victor is depleting more energy out of his tyres than Scarlo was, then that can, once again, that can play into his hands as well. But that tyre advantage for him is now dissipated. It will need to be, that pass will need to come now down to pure pace.
Yeah, and Michael Fiore is not in an unfamiliar position there with the gold and black helmet of the Aston Martin driver. He's led a few races this season, so are we going to see a Michael Fiore's masterpiece here on strategy, with him staying out on the mediums and possibly being able to eke them out even longer than the normal?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if those who say that on the medium tyres, presumably on a one-stop strategy, so expect them to probably go to the hard power tyres later on. Or potentially they might be crazy enough to go for soft tyres. I don't know. This is why we commentate and not drive. But the only downside I could see of that is they won't have the raw pace that the likes of Victor and Scarlo should probably have at the end, because they'll pit for medium tyres again, and or not for Scarlo, apologies. For Victor, for example, he'll probably have to pit for mediums again, and he will have that tyre advantage. But Michael Fiore should have track position by having one less stop. So we'll see what happens here. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, to be honest.
Yeah, and what we haven't mentioned yet is the safety car restarts at this track are notoriously difficult to pull off for the leader. So is that something that Michael Fiore is going to be thinking about now over this next lap, as we expect the safety car to come in?
Well, the racing line for this track is actually quite close to turn 1, so it's all about when does Fiore decide to you know, disperse, when he decides to you know, hit the accelerator. Of course, he's got to give enough room for the safety car, but if he catches us napping, that's being the leader's race. But we've seen in Azerbaijan, we could see 3 cars going in, because that back straight is super wide. So Fiore needs to be very intelligent in how he plays this. Does he go straight at the start and risk having that slipstream toe effect against him, or does he wait? Does he wait until the end of turn 1, when likelihood is everybody's going to be super ready to pounce on him for it?
Yeah, and for Hartmann it's also going to be interesting. Does he go full offense, or does he go for a much more defensive start and just trying to get the toe to defend off Sprink behind him?
Well, in the famous words of Ayrton Senna, you know, if you're no longer a racing driver if you don't go for a gap. I don't think if Hartmann sees an opportunity, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't take it. But absolutely, like you said, there's a huge number of cars in here behind him. So if he goes into turn 1 and he makes a mistake and puts himself on the back foot, he could be the hunted as much as he is the hunter.
Yeah, and do we see that safety car in right now? We do. The lights go out on the safety car, and we now will ride on board with Michael Fiore, as he will have to back up and let the safety car get away, or this restart could really be not as you would like it to be. So he waits for the safety car to bolt off in the into the Azerbaijan horizon, as we can see now the pack backing up through the final corner.
Yeah, this will be critical here. Needs to get this absolutely perfect. The safety car is coming in now, so he can bolt whatever, and he has chosen now, I think.
Is Hartmann close enough? He doesn't seem to be close enough, and for Michael Fiore, that seems to be an ideal start, as Scarlo was having a little bit of a look at Victor there at the back, but Michael Fiore off into the distance if you'd like, and Hartman as well, with a bit of a gap being built straight away to Gravel Trap. As Fallen Monkey, he's stuck behind him, but will he give it a go under the braking? He does, he's down the inside. Oh!
And Gravel Trap gave the space. Admittedly, he had a bit of a tap with the wall for good measure, but that was incredibly lucky for both. No drag reduction system, of course, for the first 2 laps after a safety car restart, but that's the perfect start for Flores. He has got Hartman 1.2 seconds behind, and he can now hopefully clear away and try and create as much breathing space as he can to all the cars behind.
Look how much this battle with Fallen Monkey is really hurting him, as he's stuck behind Gravel Trap now, and he's now somewhat 3 seconds off his nearest rival, Scarlow, in the next medium runner. So he's really in a bit of trouble here, Fallen Monkeys, and he has to pass this McLaren.
Yeah, he had another dive as well, and just almost tapped the back of the McLaren as well for good measure. Bearing in mind as well, Gravel Trap has not pitted yet. Fallen Monkeys did pit under that safety car, so much fresher tyres here, but it's now a question of can he get ahead under the down
that
this
gap's
back
now
straight.
up to 4 seconds as well, so it really has to happen now for Fallen Monkeys if ever, because one more lap and he could be 10 seconds away from his nearest competitor, and I don't see him being able to make that back up on the same tyres.
Yeah, and he is going to go down the inside, as does his teammate, the Team McLaren stuck.
Oh yeah, a bit of an inter-team rivalry that has led to Sinful getting past him. And he the contact.
Yeah, that was catastrophic as well. I think, and Gravel Trap, I think, has just hit the barrier as well. That was a bit too opportunistic there for the McLaren in turn 1. He thought the gap was open, and inadvertently he's hurt both of them. So
yeah, as we're seeing, Spink, he's really having a good go at passing Hartman here. He's within a second, and Victor is now within 4 tenths of him, half a second of him, so this is a really close battle now, and Victor is the net leader here.
Yeah, Spink needs to absolutely clear this Alpine, because you can see Fiora's disappearing into the distance, so he needs to clear this the Alpine immediately if he wants any chance of catching this Aston Martin out in front as well.
I believe Lennox had a spin, and he's off and into the wall! He's out of this Grand Prix, and that's not very good for Lennox. That renders one of the Mercedes out of this, and not going to score points here in Azerbaijan for maybe a second time in a row for Lennox. That's not great
and
news for him.
Hartman's had a moment as well. He still is in this race, but he's straight on the racing line of the others. So unlike Whitson and Racer, he's kept the car in, but he's right on the racing line here.
Yeah, and that's Hartman all the way down, so that does release now Spink into the distance to chase after Fury, but not what the Alpine driver would have wanted there at the end of this Grand Prix. It looks the oil can pit as well as catastrophic.
Yeah, Victor's also still in DRS range of Sprink as well, so while Sprink has gained the place, Victor is, he could lose it to another Alpine in a minute if Victor, of course, has mentioned much fresher tyres as well. And interestingly, he's struck Scarlo as well. Scarlo keeping his distance back, not too far behind, 1.3 seconds, but he hasn't, whether he's not pushing or whether he's just not able to keep up the pace there. Not incredibly close to the back of these two.
No, and you see Spink have a bit of a moment through the castle there, but amazing car control just to keep it straight and out of the wall there. So Spink maybe got quite a bit of confidence on these 9-lap mediums here.
Yeah, he's just taken 3 attempts out of Victor in the middle sector alone, so Victor's struggling for confidence. Well, not struggling for confidence, but Spink has a bit more confidence in the middle sector. I wonder if he's running a bit more downforce potentially. Which could be interesting. What's interesting here as well is the gap for Flores here. If Flores pits, he's coming up probably, what, we're looking at 6th place, maybe? Or 7th place, apologies. Because of that significant gap to 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th. So,
yeah,
we've got a good gap when he pits.
And we feel like Marshall not having spectacular pace here. That gap's going up all the time for him, so there could be a second gap about to open up between Fallen Monkeys and Philip Marshall for him, so this isn't all over now for Michael Furious, but another safety car would be opportune.
Absolutely, gravel trap's back in the pits, so McLaren have spent, if McLaren had a budget, they'd be bankrupt with all these front wings at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's not been an ideal weekend for the two McLaren drivers, but if they do finish this race, they'll get points. Everyone gets points from 1st to 15th, but you do have to complete, I believe it's something like 75% of the race or 2/3 race distance. So,
absolutely, every point matters. It's critical in the championship, as we're experiencing, this year with Formula One. So, every point here will make such a huge difference, particularly for teams that haven't scored any points yet. Mercedes, of course, for example, still yet to score any points. Ferrari won't be scoring points this weekend, neither will Williams. But when drivers do struggle, when others have issues, it's a huge opportunity for others to take advantage of them.
yeah, and McLaren maybe not always the biggest point scorers here in Division 4 are on course to score not, I wouldn't say a lot of points, but it will be a lot of points for McLaren, and it could be all important for them. An 8th and 11th would be much ideal in this current championship they're in.
Yeah, definitely.
Victor passes Spink.
Yeah, just caught that. Victor clears him. Although, I thought Spink was about to come back there, but Victor finally dispatches of the Haas driver, and now it's a kill.
And Scarlo's about 2 seconds away from this battle, so is he struggling to keep with the pace of Victor, and is that car so solid in race mode that he's just pulling away from the Alfa Romeo? Scarlo isn't massively imposing himself.
Oh, I was about to say Fallen Monkeys was right on the back of him, but he had such a wobble in the castle section. My car went through my mouth as I saw that. But yeah, Scarlett, like I said, whether or not he's deliberately backing off just to keep the tires, someone's off the front wing, and that, I think, that is the race leader. Furious has lost his front wing.
And that's Michael Furious without a front wing here. And the Aston Martin is limping through the final few corners. And that will gift Victor the lead. And it will gift Spink second place. As well as Scarlo onto the podium. As you can see, Michael Furious pits.
That's the one thing he didn't need to do. And we think he lost it coming into the little left-hand bend outside of the castle section. That is such a shame for him. The benefit is, of course, he'll get his pit stop through. So if these pressure tyres do provide a bit more time with the grip that they have, he could come back, but he's lost a lot of time through this as well. But that's such a shame for him.
Yeah, and a safety car now would really help him out if there's ever to be a time for one. Scarlo is now having the gap increased to him, so really not having the patience. I think I see front wing damage on that Alfa Romeo there. I do, and that could be the explanation for Scarlo's lack of pace.
Yeah, his right end plate is just damaged, and Fallen Monkeys is right back on the back of him as well. So this is where mistakes can happen, and why the smallest bit of damage here can massively affect you here. That is not what Scarlo needs here, and all of this to benefit the victim massively here, as he's 2.1 seconds ahead. Yeah,
and Spink still has to pit, so he's technically got a lead now of maybe 4.5, 5 seconds to Scarlo, his next closest rival.
Yeah, remember as well, Scarlo has to pit as well, because I remember under the safety car, he pitted for mediums off as a 4-lap old medium, so he has to make a pit stop for new tyres. Will he choose now to make it? Doesn't look like it, but he will have to make that call eventually, whether he likes it or not, otherwise it's an instant disqualification for him.
Yeah, and Fallen Monkeys maybe the same there on this. So Fallen Monkey is now a next second, if you like, in this Grand Prix.
Absolutely. This is interesting. Yeah, just watching through here. Look at Marshall. Yeah, Furious could end up back on the podium at this rate potentially. It could be ironic after his front wing was damaged, but yeah, this is. Whilst the gaps don't look large, obviously the Fallen Monkeys is almost within DRS. There's still some potential towards the end of this race for a very good race.
Yeah, and we know Azerbaijan can really throw up a cocktail of anything that you could ever want to see in motorsport, to teammates colliding, to championship rival drama, to now it looks like a strategical masterclass as this race is going to turn out to be.
If Scarlo could pray for anything right now, it's a second safety car. He would love another opportunity to pit, get rid of that front wing, fresh tyres, come back out and start being more aggressive again. The front wing damage, and surprisingly, despite that front wing damage, he's still keeping the Red Bull behind him. So this is really working out quite nicely.
And that's Scarlo heading towards the pit lane there, and he does indeed pit. So that hands Monkey his third place, and allows him to go and chase down Spink, who's got his next second place now.
Yeah, Monkey's admittedly is 5.4 seconds behind, but remember, like you mentioned, Spink absolutely has to make a mandatory pit stop. So Monkey's net second place at the moment. I think no, almost don't have.
Michael Furious has managed to get Scarlo as well, so that's a big improvement for Michael Furious there, and that'll really help him in his race towards this podium though.
Yeah, interesting. Scarlo's gone for soft tyres. It's a bit ambitious. If they could do 9 laps, I'll eat my words, but I think Scarlo's surely going to have to pit again.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be the best strategy. Unless he's hoping to go and hunt down Michael Furious 4 seconds up the road and maybe get a second safety car, but Carlo's really shown that in his first race back he's missed the ISRL strategy a little bit here and has maybe cost himself a podium.
Potentially, but there's still 12 laps to go, including this one, so
anything can happen.
Absolutely. So Victor, 3.5 seconds leading at the moment. He's having a good time at the moment. I wonder if Victor will make that second pit stop. The only other person that is in sort of his way of doing that is Fallen Monkey, who doesn't need to pit as well. The rest of the top 5 do need to pit. If he does pit and Monkeys decides to stay out for the rest of this race, and he goes on to win that race, will Victor beat himself over it? At the same time though, if he stays out and the tyre wear is too great, he risks a puncture here, so there's a lot to go here as Marshall does make his pit stop finally done.
Yeah, and that will a bit. Michael Furious up another position into 5th place now, so he's only 2 places away from that podium that he just washed out on, so he might have a chance of standing on them top 3 steps at the end of this race if he carries on.
Yeah, it might be a net P4 at the moment. He's Central ahead of him on 13-lap-old medium tyres as well. I'm watching Split at the moment. I want to see what his pace is looking like on those medium tyres. There's 15 laps at the moment. And this is really useful for others who predict them for Fallen Monkeys as well, see how long these medium tyres can go. It looks fairly comfortable. Well, I'd say fairly comfortable. I don't think there's much pace in them, but yeah, I mean, 20 laps on medium tyres, can it be done? Will Victor Fallen Monkey take that risk? Who knows?
Yeah, that's a really good question there, and I think for the most part, they're going to judge off what Spink does and see if he goes for a set of soft tyres towards the end of this race.
Yeah, the three-way train here between Simple, Giros and Scarlo here. There's all the makings of something happening. As Victor pits then, so he is committing to a two-stop.
Yeah, and Victor boxes nice and early. Monkey will go on to take his second place now, and will Monkeys try the dangerous strategy and try and get a strange win here in Azerbaijan?
It'll be interesting if he get. I wonder if he might extend his stint and potentially try going for soft tyres.
As we see Scarlo get 2 in 1 here at Azerbaijan, and down the inside on Michael Fures on the much better tyres, but he's fighting back Michael Fures round the outside, demanding the space, and he's now got the DRS, and that won't help Scarlo in this battle for the lead.
Yeah, that's the worst case scenario there for Scarlo. He needs to come back here, but that's not what he needs on soft tyres. He needs to dispatch this Aston Martin to try and make use of the soft tyres. The longer he stays behind the hard compound tyres of Fures, the more it compromises him. We expect that he has to make a second pit stop, and he now really needs to get ahead of this Aston Martin as quickly as possible.
I think tyres are falling off now, and Fallen Monkeys is within 2 seconds. So, are we seeing the cliff here at about lap 16, lap 17 on these mediums, and where the pace drop-off is?
Yeah, it's super tight towards the end here on tyre wear, and this is all dependent on if Fallen Monkeys does indeed choose to stay out. What was interesting is Vixton did pit and remained ahead of Fures as well, so he won't be so Fures, if he wanted an opportunity to win this race, doesn't look like that's going to be happening, unfortunately. It's great pits then, as does Fallen Monkeys as well. They're both pitting.
Yeah, and this will be really crucial to see where these two come out in comparison to Victor. Does he have a comfortable lead? It looks like he will do, and there's now nobody really in the way to deny him. Great, in the same place we've seen so many others have accidents, and we'll try and catch it with Catastrophic here as he comes through the final few corners across the track, and that looks like the same accident we've seen so many times. Yeah, safety car, that will really help people like Catastrophic that can take advantage of it straight away, but this now puts down Victor's advantage on them fresh mediums, because Fallen Monkeys has fresh medium and Sprink has fresh soft.
Scarlo's just outbraked himself into the turn 3 there, I think it is. But I was about to mention that's such a benefit for him. The first safety car hurt him. This one is a blessing for him, because now he can get off those soft tyres and hit for some medium tyres to go towards the end of this race. So that works for him.
Yeah, he's Spink looking like he could be an unlikely race winner here, because the leader hasn't caught the safety car yet, so when the leader does it, it'll be lap 19. Say it stays out for 1 lap, will these tyres do 5 to 6 laps?
Well, we've seen, what was it, we saw Hartman do 3 laps on the soft tyres, so it'll be nip and tuck. The safety car will massively benefit here, because of course you're not depleting as much energy into those tyres, but I mean, usually safety car laps about 3. You'd have to still do 5 laps on those soft tyres. That's a big ask there for Sprink, but he's, you know, has he got much to lose really? Not really. He had to pit anyways, but this could very well harm him here. What would he do?
And I wouldn't pit.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I wouldn't pit from that position, but Simple does on his 15 lap old mediums, so he pits, and so does Scarlo and Philip Marshall, so this could actually elevate the McLaren into an unlikely top 4, and that would help this team out so much. in the
Yeah,
Constructors'
absolutely.
Championship.
Yeah, Red Bull looking very good at the moment. I wonder if Fallen Monkeys there might be considering letting his team have a go on that safety car restart, but Soft Run is getting a bit more aggressive. Scarlet's pitted. I really though he has come out behind the McLaren of Rusty Oil Can on hard tyres. Why is Rusty Oil Can slow here? They've all stopped. Now what has happened here?
This is a little bit of madness, and it shows a certain lack of reading the rule book here in ISRL, as we do have rules not to allow anybody past unless it's a direct overtake that you knew you shouldn't have done. So is Rusty Oil Can illegally overtaking Starlaw out of the pit lane, or has he come out level, or?
Not sure, but I mean that's going to hurt all four of them as they try to catch back up the safety car.
Yeah, and that little stint there will allow Fallen Monkey, if he wants a chance to let Simple by and have a go at this race win here for Red Bull, but I don't think Fallen Monkey could be thinking about that. I think he'll be trying to get past Spink on the restart and elevate himself into that second place himself.
What's that gap between themselves and Oil Can? Fallen Monkeys might choose to take a pit stop here, potentially. He'll lose one place to a teammate. Get away with it, potentially. Well, it seems, I don't know if he'll get that anymore. They're not under Delta now, so I don't think well, about to say, I think if he was going to pit, no opportunity there, he does stay out, but I completely agree. Spring, you may not get him on the first lap due to the grip, but if a tyre wear on those soft tyres depletes after 3 or 4 laps, Fallen Monkeys is right there to take it.
Yeah, with something like that going on, would Spink be a bit of a victim to Victor towards the end, as well as Fallen Monkeys? We expect Spink to clear Victor pretty quickly at the start of this race.
Yeah, when the safety car restarts, Spink has got to take his moment immediately because the tyres will be at their best window at the start, the optimum level of grip. For every lap that he stays behind the Alpine, he puts himself at a disadvantage. So he needs to take his advantage as soon as the safety car is released, and he needs to time the safety car restart absolutely perfectly here. And same with Victor as well. Victor needs the perfect restart if he doesn't want to be threatened by the Haas driver.
Yeah, and these soft tyres will allow him to brake so much later into turn 1 as well if he does get alongside the Alpine driver. So, as you can see, supporting a nice green helmet like we so often see with Mick. Is he going to try something cheeky like Mick?
Potentially. We will have to see. But it will all come down to the safety car restart. We expect the safety car to be in at the end of this lap, potentially. All of the drivers seem to be aligned together, minus Hartman and Gravel Trap. They're trying to catch onto the back of the field for the moment. So we'll wait and see. Safety car, like I said, should be in at the end of this lap in the beautiful red.
And look at that, I think my driver of the day, if he can get the race run here, will have to be Spink, with 12 positions gained in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely, and that's a great recovery from him after starting in 14th, but still 6 laps to go. He's still not over yet.
Yeah, and Simple also up 7 positions as well as Catastrophic, so a very late call for the safety car to be in this lap. So Victor now backs up Spink on the soft tyres, 1 lap younger than the Alpine. Fallen Monkeys on the medium shift behind him.
He's gone.
He's gone. Has Spink gone with him? Spink's not close enough to make a move. Neither is Fallen Monkey or Simple. So the top 4 stay as they are, but Spink needs to hurry up and get a move on if he wants this race win and get past Victor here.
That was the perfect restart for Victor there. Completely caught the remainder of the field napping, and Fallen Monkeys just lost the back end, and Simple is right on the back of him here. Do they play tactical with each other? Do they enable each other to have a go? Or are they playing for themselves? And it looks like for the moment, they're holding fire for the time being. Scarlo passing Rusty Oil Can and up into 5th place.
Yeah, as I'm watching the battle now, as Rusty Oil Can gets done by Philip Marshall as well. Into the end of sector 1, start of sector 2.
Yeah.
I think he's making enough of an indentation here, is he really? But he's not what he needs.
No, not at all. He's holding position. It'll be this middle sector where he can try and get as much purchase. He does gain a bit more time here. But like I mentioned, the longer he waits, the more of a disadvantage he puts himself on here. Scarlo is now right on the back of these 2 Red Bulls here, so there is a podium up for grabs for the Alfa Romeo driver, who's had a very chaotic race for him, but there is a P3 up for grabs if he can catch and pass the 2 Red Bulls there.
The closest battle on track there, as you see, catastrophic past Rusty Oil Can into the second to last corner. As Hartman's going that way now, but he thinks better of putting the nose up the inside until the final 2 S-bends. This should be fairly easy under DRS, I would think.
Scarlo is, I think, almost just ahead and is ahead of Sinful. That's 1 Red Bull dispatched us, and now he can go after the second one here. But
contact there for Hartman at the back of the grid, racing Rusty Oil Can to the last of 8th place. As we go back to this battle, as Sinful has managed to dispatch of his 4th place down to 5th. Not what he would have wanted, but Scarlo looking at a podium here if he can get rid of Fallen Monkeys, but will them tyres go off?
And Spriggs is right within the DRS range. As we've got contact there, that's Hartman and I think Rusty Oil Can for 8th
Safety car! Safety car is out again, so this now gives Victor and Fallen Monkeys a chance to pit if they wanted onto some softs, and they would go to the end, but leading this race you'd be tempted to stay where you are, knowing the state of Spinks tyres and Scarlo's, knowing they've already been through 1 heat cycle.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's only 5 laps to go as well. If the safety car's out for another 3 laps, that's 2 laps worth of racing. Do you really want to pit when, especially with all the pack close together as well? I don't think anybody will pit here unless they've got damage or they want to try something here, but this is I saw the sprint, what was it, how many laps did we have of Azerbaijan in 21? Was it just the 1 we had? In real life Formula 1 this year. We saw how crazy that went.
Yeah, that was I think it was like a 3-lap shootout or something crazy like that. That we had this year, and that was really quite spectacular, and we're hoping for something similar here in ISRL, but as you see, all of them stay out as they catch up to the nice red Mercedes safety car with its lights on for the 3rd time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, someone does pit, and that is Hartman. I believe that is due to his front-wing damage. Oil Can has retired from this race. McLaren has been in the walls all day today.
And yeah, I'm just going to work out whether Rusty Oil Can has maybe cost himself points here, retiring too early.
Yeah, absolutely. His teammate, despite having a number of whacks with the wall today, still in 9th place at the moment. We've had, what, 6 retirements so far in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and there's still a little bit of racing left to do.
Yeah, and luckily for Rusty Oil Can, he has just made it into the 2/3 race distance stage to claim them points for 10th position, but only by a few laps there, so not quite what McLaren would have hoped for, but they won't be complaining with 10th place in the last of the points paying positions today, as everyone else who's in this race will claim points.
Alpine will be very happy if they can keep where they are. 1st and 8th, it's all the points for them in their their lead in the Constructors' Championship. Red
Yeah,
Bull put on 5th as well.
Yeah, for sure, and Red Bull may be the biggest winners, but Hartman on some brand new soft tyres, maybe to pass Catastrophic and Philip Marshall, and maybe even Sinful as well, could really get the points up there for Alpine. So I don't think this race is quite over, as we've got a green-white checker, as the NASCAR fans out there will notice.
Yeah, they're going to go for another lap then, so 24, so presumably at the end of this lap there will be around 2 laps to go. Presumably, of course, this is the lap the safety car does come in here. Catastrophic pits then, interestingly.
Yeah. Catastrophic wasn't willing to fight Hartman off on them brand new soft tyres and thought he'd rather join him instead. But he'll fall behind Gravel Trap now for Catastrophic, so that's an overtake he'll have to make pretty quickly on this restart.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. What do drivers do? Do they go full send on these last 2 laps? Or do they just try and be cautious and hold their position? So, well, very interesting.
The way I would play it is, I've got points now down to 9. So if I send it at turn 1 and lose out on 2nd or 3rd because of a silly accident, I'm still going to get points. So I might as well try a move and try and get that podium position. But obviously, I'm not a driver, and these drivers are a lot more sensible than me when it comes down to racing.
Well, the interesting thing I'm curious of is all those, like sprints for example, all those on soft tyres with at least 4 laps of wear. How much grip will they have? Like, we've seen at the start, remember it was Victor who had 4 laps of soft tyres, and the rear of the car was absolutely stepping out on them. So there's a lot of questions. We do have a safety car which is helping them, but how much wear have they got on those tyres?
I think even at the risk of a puncture on one of these last 2 racing laps, because they are only meant to do 8 laps, these soft tyres, and if you're racing on them particularly hard, or you're not racing on them just how the game wants you to, you can quite quickly take away from that life expectancy of the tyres as the safety car comes in. So could we see a few punctures here at the end?
This is, yeah, definitely. This is the most critical. If Victor had a critical safety car restart, this is the one. He's got to get this absolutely nailed. Because with 2 laps,
I think he's got a penalty with fallen monkeys for collision under the safety car, and Victor's gone. It won't matter.
Has he got enough room? I think he has. Safety car's just coming into the pit, so should be fine. That's perfect for Victor. 5 second worth of penalties as he heads into turn 1, virtually unchallenged at the moment.
Star Loeb will be promoted up to 2nd, and Simple will be 3rd at this rate.
Yeah, that's not what they needed. And the Mercedes of Marshall, that was just crazy there from Marshall. That is clumsiness of a capital C. Dived straight into the inside of Sinful. There was no room for him there. Really clumsy driving there.
But the Mercedes is off again, and that promotes Hartman into 5th. So Alpine, maybe a 1-3 on the cards here. If he can catch up to Fallen Monkeys and then Scarlow, he could be within chances of a 3rd place here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super perfect for them. What are we looking at as well? Scarlow just on the back of Fallen Monkeys. He won't take much of a risk there, but he's got such a good, like you said, about 5 second time penalty will hit him hard. So whether or not will he take the risk of going for an overtake or just wait for the penalties to take effect, who knows at the moment. Spinks keeping within 7/10 of Victor, but there won't be any DRS for the remainder of this race now. So this is all going to be on pure pace if he is going to get past. And Catastrophic has got ahead of Gravel Trap for 7th, and presumably we'll get ahead of Marshall very quickly as well.
And crucially, Hartman is gaining on this battle at the front.
And we got a... Sorry, there was a huge crash between Simple Gravel Trap. They ran straight into the back of a very slow Mercedes of Marshall, who had the front wing. 2 drivers out this race as well. Huge shame for them.
Yeah, they are both out of this race and solidify their positions in 8th and 9th. As we go back to the lead battle real quickly, Spinky giving him half a second to Victor, but it won't matter to him whatsoever. Victor could just let Spink past and let him take the win on the track with that 5-second penalty being there.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll try, unless he believes he can get that penalty removed from an appeal, but what will he do here? Victor's got to be absolutely spot on and perfect in this last few corners as well. And same for Prix as well. Ball Monkey's keeping within him as well.
Hartman's also there as well, so Hartman's still within the 5 seconds just about.
Yeah, absolutely. This is I don't even know what this podium will be, but Victor's more than cleared Springs out of his DRS, or not DRS, out of any potential threat at the moment. Victor just needs the last few corners to be clean, and this could be a victory for Alpine.
Yeah, Victor dominant today. Since Whitson hit the wall, Victor hasn't looked back from that first position, and he looks like he's going to come through and claim a victory for Alpine, a victory for himself, and become a winner of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in Division 4. As Spink comes up second on track, Follow Monkey's third, but Star Logo's second and Hartman third, so that is an Alpine 1-3 there for the Alpine team, just what they would have needed. Spink and Follow Monkey's fall down to 4th and 5th. Catastrophic will be 6th, and Philip Marshall coming through for your last few drivers here in 7th position.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what a crazy end to 26 laps of Azerbaijan. We expected it to be hectic as always, but
Spink up 10 positions and Catastrophic up 9 positions here in this Grand Prix, so really class drives them from them two.
Yeah, I wonder if any of the, whether it be Sprints or Fallen Monkey, will try and get that 5-second time penalty removed, depending on what happened. We didn't see it. Presumably the Mercedes of Marshall will certainly be picking up the penalty. His move, albeit he will remain in 9th place anyways. But great race for Alpine, 1-3. They continue their dominance in the Constructors' Championship. That is a super result for the French manufacturer.
Yeah, for sure, and you can see nothing can be done about Victor's win now, and he is the winner of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and today very much belongs to him because he looked very unchallenged out there, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely, mega job. He struggled in the soft tyres, but absolutely made the race his own today.
Yeah, you can see Spink and Fallen Monkeys with their penalties there, dropping them down 2 positions. Not what they would have wanted, but everyone will get points all the way down to Rusty Oil Can in the top 10, so not a bad weekend for McLaren either. And Red Bull had a fairly good weekend as well there, even though they just get caught up in that accident at the end.
Interestingly, Hartman did a 5-stop strategy and finished on the podium. That's incredible.
Yeah, really show you how crazy Azerbaijan can be. But any final words here for this Grand Prix today?
I don't know what to say. I mean, a hugely dramatic race, but I think all in all, those who did well today were the ones who drove super clean and super consistently. I think tracks like these, street tracks where you're really tested on your precision and your quality of driving, usually those who do the best job are usually the ones who finish right at the top.
Yeah, and we've seen that today with Victor. Next week is the Bahrain International Circuit, so we'll be back at the same time next Sunday, but for now, I've been ISRL Cam for a while. Your co-commentator here has been Origin Gamma, so thank you very much for joining us, and it'll be goodbye for now.